Greetings, gardeners!
Welcome back to RootsUp.
We're excited to have you join us in the garden today. When sowing new seedlings, it's important to have a soft, moisture-wicking medium like cocoa, rock wool, or peat moss. These materials usually come inert and nutrient-free, making it less likely we will kill the plant babies with nutrient burn. Today we are using peat moss. I don't find much difference between the three unless we are doing aquaponics or hydroponics, in which case we would use cocoa or rock wool, because they're just a little more inert. But since these seedlings are for the market booth and our garden, and we have a lot of peat moss laying around from a sale in December, for us, peat's the best fit for this application. Peat comes from forest bogs, so it occasionally has sticks and bark in it. I'm going to sift this out by hand, and gently level peat evenly through all the cells by running fistfuls of the medium over the top of the empty cells and sliding my hand across any uneven spots and pushing it toward the emptier sections. We let this batch of peat get a little too dry, so I recommend putting it in a pot or a bucket to wet it down first, and then squeezing out any excess moisture if you find yourself stuck somewhere similar, instead of whatever it is I try to do with my busted pump sprayer. We fix this later by heavily bottom watering these trays, taking advantage of that wicking action I mentioned before. It's important to keep your seeds moist and warm for the best chance of germination. If I find these seeds aren't sprouting after a week, I'm going to cover them up and put them on top of my refrigerator to stimulate those good spring feelings in their seed germs. Them germs.
We're going to start by watering in the peat moss because we let it get really dry. So we're just going to make sure we get a good bit of water in each cell before we start any seeds. Here is our current seed bank. We've been using storage containers designed for storing jewelry pieces and beads, and it's worked wonderfully. You can find a link to them in the description. We're going to plant 2 trays for our garden and 1 tray for our market booth. By the way, we will be coming out of hibernation and re-entering market life in either March or April. I'm going to start with the tray for our garden. In this tray, we'll be planting some herbs, tomatoes, and peppers for our garden. We're going to start off with garlic chives. I'm just making indentations in the peat about 1 knuckle deep, planting the seeds and then covering them. Next, we'll have 2 cells of red Reuben basil. This has been one of our favorite varieties of basil to grow in the past, with a beautiful color and a taste that lingers. Next, I decide on sweet carnival peppers. Last year we were harvesting these guys well into November. Our family uses a lot of serranos, so they are a necessity in our garden every year. And for our final pepper, the Big Jim chili pepper. We didn't have much luck with this one last season, but I'm hopeful this will be the year. And last but not least, our tomatoes. Our first tomato is the Atomic Grape Tomato, my favorite tomato we've ever grown. I'm not a huge tomato person, but I can eat these straight off the plant. Mamie's brown tomato follows the atomic grape, a good old faithful tomato if there ever was one. Heirloom black tomatoes are our last tomato variety for today, another variety that we've had yet to have luck with, so hopefully we have a longer journey with them this year. Though I'm going to take the tray of cells out and water directly in the bottom of our mini greenhouse to further help how much our peat dried out. Next, I'm going to label every cell to ensure each gets the proper care and placement in our garden. Fun fact, all peppers and tomatoes are common varieties of nightshade, which is why their leaves are inedible to us. Our next tray will be some of this year's garden greens. We're going to start with 3 cells of white stem bok choy. This hasn't been a favorite of ours so far, so if it doesn't do well this year, the seeds will likely sit in our seed bank for a good while. While it hasn't been a taste we crave, white stem bok choy has continually been among our best germinators, so we do have to keep that in mind. Early broccoli will occupy our next 3 cells. Broccoli is a bit of a staple in our household, so we're hoping for a hearty harvest.
Plant tip from Editor Gavin. Brassicas, like lettuce, don't particularly need a whole lot of phosphorus or potassium, so feed it something with a heavier balance of nitrogen, like a 4-1-1 all-purpose fertilizer.
A favorite of ours to grow is next, Bib butter lettuce. We've really enjoyed the texture as well as almost sweet taste from this lettuce in the past, and it grows well with plenty for us to harvest. This will definitely not be the last year Bib makes an appearance in our garden. And I'm gonna go forage for another label real quick. Mission success. Black seed Simpson lettuce will take our last 3 cells. We've only grown this aquaponically, so we're excited to see how it does in the garden. The taste is fairly bitter, but it grows quickly, making it a great crop for a salad-loving family. Unfortunately, video storage was apparently full at this point, and the camera stopped recording. The last tray was our market tray, and I planted garlic chives, cinnamon basil, true lavender, non-GMO lemon balm, and container variety lemon balm.
Welcome to the outro, gardeners. Thank you for watching to the end. Usually, we'd have the garden outro here, but Editor Gavin had some comments. The first is that every time Tiffany does these trays, she sows everything like she would microgreens, and then separates them later instead of culling them. We end up with tons of chaotic plantings throughout the season as she cherishes every seed. So I'd like y'all to treat this video like Tiffany treats those trays and plant hundreds of likes on it so we can cherish the channel growth together like Tiffany and her seedlings. And second, we realized in post that our peat was dry, and, well, we hope you had as much fun with that accidental gag as we did discovering it. We'll see you next time on Roots Up.